Okay. Every subject has its own preparation strategy. So does ethics. And why? What are the three most important subjects in mains? Three more. Optional? Essay? Ethics. So ethics also you have vast difference in marks. Some will score 80, 90 and some will score 130, 130. So 50, 60 marks will determine your rank, your service, your cadre, etc., etc., etc. So ethics approach is also very, very important. Okay, ethics, there are two. Let's start with very basics. Okay, from basics, then we'll move on each level to advanced. Right, ethics, basics, how to start preparing ethics. How to start reading ethics. And we'll also welcome the most energetic officer, Manoj sir. Okay? Ethically, you have theory, which you study, your books, your coaching notes, or your own notes, everything depending upon the syllabus given in the UPSC sheet. Right. After that also we have to do certain extra things. What are those? You have to have a enrichment notes. What are those enrichment notes? We can have a list of collection. First collection should be quotes. Okay, I am not someone who prefer quotes so much because I have this ideology of minimum preparation, maximum results. Quotes, there are so many quotes. Some relevant quotes which are easy for us, we can have a list of them. Then ethical keywords. We have ethical keywords which Manoj sir is provided. And then examples, contemporary relevance of ethical events around us, which we can get it from newspapers. Then what? Administrative relevance examples. This is all about the IAS, IPS officers or all the civil servants who had done great in their life. It's better if we use the recent ones. Okay. And then what else we should have? Thinkers. Western thinker philosophies, Eastern thinker philosophies or Indian philosophies. We should also have these sheets. Okay. And to be very honest, these 5, 6, 7 sheets which you will have will be the most useful to write ethics answers. Okay. This is like second thing what you have to do for ethics. And third thing, PYQ analysis and proper copies analysis. Fourth thing and most important is your answer writing. 1, 2, 3, 4, you will be done. After this is your first step. Then analyzing the paper. There are two different sections in the paper. First section is quote based or theory based, and the second section is case studies. So two different aspects of the paper needs two different approach again. Okay. So first thing is quote based or ethics based quotes. How do you address it? Now I addressed it in a for me everything depends on structured approach so that it becomes easy for me in the exam hall. Now you have a quote or you have a question. There also, what is the question demanding? Most of the question demands a value which you have to explore. The question will talk either about honesty or impartiality or transparency, something like that, right? Now you understand the value behind that question. Now what you have to do? I want to present my answer in a more easy way for the examiner to understand that I've understood the concept. So what should we do? What did I do in certain questions, almost 6 to 7 questions, write it in a structured way. What is the structure? There is an introduction where you explain the quote or explain the question in 2 to 3 lines. Then I can put a personal significance as a subheading and write 2 to 3 examples related to that. Then what I can do? Administrative relevance as a heading. Then we have already collected all the civil servants who has done great, good, right? We can use those examples there. Then next heading would be contemporary relevance. There we can write 2 or 3 examples which we study in newspapers, right? Then next heading would be maybe ethical justification. What is ethical justification? Bringing the ideas of thinkers, either Western philosopher or Eastern philosopher, and write them. And then write conclusion. Now you have a structure for this answer. Will it be great? Isn't it doable? No answer. Are you understanding what I'm telling? Okay. So this is the structured format which you can use in first 10 questions, at least 5 to 6 questions. Rest all you can do a normal routine approach which we do. And then case studies. Case studies. Before we had a 13-step approach which we used to do, but now trend question, they themselves ask the question. So we cannot write those 13-step approach. For the question, you have to address and write the answer. And while answering case studies, be more realistic. Be both intellectual as well as empathetic. Those are the areas where UPSC is checking for your administrative capabilities. That is how you can balance pros and cons. And to enrich case studies. Now, this is what everyone is doing. Now, to enrich case studies, what can we do? The only philosophy of mains is what everyone is doing, do that. +1 enrichment. Now, for case studies is all about the dilemmas. Can we add certain theories of dilemmas in it? Specifically, maybe some bad theories? Because most of them are administrative dilemmas. Can we add 1 or 2? It should not look like a public administration student writing an answer, but you can just spill 1 or 2 theories. Now, when the examiner reads it, he'll be happy. Right? This is for case studies. And the first thing was for codes, and the preparation is how you have to do the different things. Okay, this is how you prepare for the exam before going into the exam hall. And one more sheet you can keep ready is all the values, definitions, examples. If you do this much, you will be scoring good marks in ethics.
One major thing that you should take away from all these sessions is the thought process of the toppers rather than looking for the content aspect. So in here, you understood how Nivedita ma'am thinks. She is very good in structuring the answers. That is, she has the content, how to structure it. And in case studies, understand that she is not a public administration student, but she showed the curiosity to bring public administration theories in her answers. The same we can also inculcate within ourselves, bringing some extra value addition that no others are doing. And especially in ethics, one of the most important thing about ethics is that the theory part is just 20%. Other 80% is about your personality. How do you think in a given critical scenario? So for example, one of the biggest mistakes that we do in the preparation of ethics is that we take a book, any ethics book, theory book, we complete it, we read it for 3-4 times. We think that our ethics preparation is done. That's not the case. Because ethics preparation is also about how do we think when we get a question from based on our own experiences. For example, I can give you an example. You know, like if you have completed ethics theory, there is something called as in attitude, there is ABC theory. There is attitude, the parts of attitude, affective component, behavioral component, and cognitive component. Usually, whenever there is a question on attitude, we usually break down it into affective, behavioral, and cognitive. So usually if 100 people are writing mains, 95 people would be doing this. But stop there, think, what is attitude formation about? What is attitude change about? What is attitude formation? When we look at something, let's say I looked at Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. I was inspired by his ideas. So the attitude that I inculcated within myself happened because of my observation. So that is through introspection. My attitude is forming through a concept of introspection. So you know about Rahul Dravid being a ambassador for election voting. So when we see icons like Dravid asking us to vote, we feel something called as demonstration effect. What is demonstration effect? When someone we adore does something, we also feel inspired to do that. That is called as demonstration effect. So isn't it a method of attitude formation? And when we are in a group of people, when we learn from them, is the concept of socialization, right? So we are learning from people who are around us, our friends. So isn't it a form of attitude formation? And like if you know about the Swachh Bharat mission, there was a campaign called as Darwaza Band campaign. What was the campaign about? The campaign was about closing the door. Darwaza Band, closing the door. So that means use toilets rather than doing open defecation. So there what is happening? There we are getting persuaded. Persuasion. Persuasion is a form of attitude formation, attitude change, right? When we persuade someone, the attitude is getting formed, the attitude is getting changed. See, this is the thought process. Like, am I talking anywhere from theories? I'm talking from what I have observed from my surroundings. So this is what ethics expects from us. So that is why your theory is important. But understand that whatever you do beyond your theory is going to get fetch marks in your ethics paper. So today we will discuss on that aspect.
And one extra step for this ABC or CAB model is it is known as Rosenberg model. Okay, now you understand. Like there is a strategy, there is a structure, there is an attitude formation for you to be ethical, and that is what UPSC is checking for. Ethics, essay, interview, all these things check your personality along with your content.
This is the reason why there is such a tremendous gap in ethics course. Is your scores can be from 60 till 140. Why those who have understood what ethics truly demands can cross that 120 barrier, and those who write still based on the theories, they will fall around 60, 70. Because in the end, every mains paper is about your USP. What is USP? Unique selling point. That is what extra, what value that you are adding to your answers. What is your thought process? Because understand, especially in ethics paper, the question is on how do you handle pressure? What is your thought process during the times of pressure? So that is why essay 1, 2, 3, 4. The paper is kept as the 5th paper where you are completely exhausted, where your brain is completely, it can't function at its highest efficiency. And ethics paper, if you read the ethics paper, it is nearly 1.5 times lengthier than the other papers.
You have to write also more, sir. So many papers to fill in also.
Exactly. That is, you have to write much more than other GS papers and any other paper in ethics. That is, what is happening there is that because you complete section A, you come to case studies. What is your thought process? Immediate thought process. If you are given time, what you will do is that you will add some masala to your case studies and you will write some flavored answers. But when you are under time constraints, when you are under word constraints, what would you do? You would write immediately what is your thought process on the paper. So there what is happening? Your real personality is coming out. Rather than you are trying to create an artificial personality with some masala answers. So that is what ethics is trying to check. To understand what is the true purpose of this paper here. So here, GS-4, when you are writing GS-4, let's say like last year there was a case studies. There will be case studies on corruption. There will be case studies on personal dilemma versus organizational interest. There will be case studies on the corporate ethics angle. And last year there was a case study on you are, let's say, assume you are a DC of a district, and your district has some flood, and then that was the first case study. So your district has some flood, and at the same time your mother has passed away, and your sister is in US. So what would you do? So what we usually do, we try to, as ma'am highlighted, be practical. We try to show ourselves as Karna.
No, not at all. That examiner will definitely understand.
We try to show ourselves as Karna. No, I won't attend my mother's funeral. For me, my district is important. So I will take care of my district. You are not Karna. Nobody does that. So like, just imagine, on the spot, if you are in that situation, would you do that? Would you not take the opportunity to look at your mother one last time? You will do that, right? Then you have to write that.
There is something called as delegation of duties for that.
Beautiful. Like,
You
just
can-
understand how our thought process are aligning here. I was about to tell the same point. That is, what is leadership? Leadership is trusting our subordinates to perform the duties in our absence. If there is our necessity to perform certain duties, if there is a dependency on us to perform certain duties, that is our failure to create more leaders. So there is a beautiful quote. Leadership is about not creating more followers, but about creating more leaders. So when we delegate, as ma'am told, when we delegate it to our subordinates, and we trust them to take care of the responsibilities when we are not there, and when we attend the funeral, we come back overnight. At the same time, we are coordinating with our subordinates. What is happening? So don't you think you are resolving, you are attending your mother's funeral also? At the same time, you are monitoring what is happening in your district. So you are coordinating with your subordinates also. I wrote exactly like this.
Same. Delegation of duties.
Exactly. Means this was whatever I am telling right now. I wrote this exactly on my paper. So I wrote the quote. Ethics leadership is not about creating more followers, but it is about creating more leaders. So I would trust my subordinates to handle this situation in my absence. But I will make sure I will attend the funeral and I will come back immediately. So don't you think you are balancing both? So this is, and in ethics, the most important aspect is that take any question in ethics. Take any question, there are two values at conflict. In any question, there are two values at conflict. So how do you find the middle path? That is what the evaluator is expecting from you. How do you find the middle path? So for example, this is one of the favorite case studies for me. Let's say you are having very high integrity. So you went to your district as a DC, you saw some corruption, you whistleblowed. So you released the strategic documents of the district, the public sphere. But don't you think someone else can misuse whatever the documents that you have released, and it can create a threat to the public machinery, public order, law and order, national security? Can't it be a problem? So you are showing integrity, right? That means you are at right, you are at correct, you are doing it correct. But there is a problem that you are creating. So that is why there is something called as SOPs. What are SOPs? Standard operating procedures. So especially in case studies, always try to ensure you are bringing the standard operating procedures first. That is should be your thought process. What is the standard operating procedures here? First, you will report it to your higher authority. Sir, this corruption is happening. Before reporting, you will conduct an investigation and collect the evidence. That is called as objective and empirical decision making. Then you will report it to your higher authorities. Then if they don't respond, you will report it to integrity institutions. What are integrity institutions? You will learn in GS-2. What are they? TVC, CBI, Lokayukta, Lokpal. They hold other institutions accountable. That's why they are called as integrity institutions. If they also don't respond, finally, then all SOPs are done. Then you will come back to the whistleblowing.
Sir, actually, we can add one more cheat note that what all we are doing, no? SOP notes.
Yeah, exactly.
We have different themes which UPSC asks. Disaster management, a theme. Corruption, a theme. Integrity, a theme. So these are the questions UPSC will revolve around in case studies. So SOPs for these things. We can have a 4 to 5 pages notes which we can use it. So along with ethical dilemma, you will address administrative relevance and administrative dilemma also. So that is what. Think like a bureaucrat, think like you're a civil servant, and then take decision, and those decisions should be put on paper. And realistic decisions.
So now, from my understand that, please understand. This is one beautiful paper where 100 toppers can have 100 different perspectives. Because ethics is an abstract subject. What is abstract? There is no definite boundary. Because for example, GS2, I and Nivedita ma'am both will write the same case laws, same judgments, same articles and all. So our thought process is aligning on a similar note in GS2, GS3, even in GS1 and all. But in ethics and essay, there is no limit to your thought process. So for example, whatever I tell, what Nivedita ma'am tells can be completely different. That doesn't mean one is correct and one is wrong. So their approach, if you think you can apply her approach, take some best things from her approach, inculcate in your answers. Take some best approach from my perspectives and inculcate in your answers.
And then they should create their own bestest approach.
And create your own. So this is how we approach ethics and essay as a paper. So don't blindly follow someone and don't blindly go for like, sir, which topper notes should I refer for ethics? Because that topper has certain perspectives and she has made certain notes on it. Create your own notes, create your own thought process. That is what is going to help in ethics in all other GS papers also.
So takeaways from all this, whatever you have to prepare. Okay, we are just telling you the approach to ethics paper. From that approach, you walk through that path. For any subjects that matter, don't blindly follow any topper. He is a topper because he has done something extra from what everyone else were doing at that time. Now all these are normalizing because we are telling all this. These are the normal standards. You should add on to this and do something else on your own.
For beginners, what that take in national book. For example, it can be the Jane Sir's Decode Ethics book, Decode Ethics, or I refer Decode Ethics. It can be lexicon or
I studied Pulse.
Any book, any foundational book. It is not going to matter at all. Whatever the foundational book that you are going to give is going to give you the same theory.
Content. Same content, sir.
Same content. Whatever you do after that is going to create an impact. It's the same for all other GSs also. Whatever you do beyond the foundational learning is going to fetch you the marks. So here, take foundational book, any basic source. Then after reading that, foundational source, then go through the PYQs. PYQs give you the floor. Floor in the sense,
Foundation.
PYQs and foundation give you the floor. What is expected from you? Minimum standard that is expected in your ethics answers. PYQs will help you understand how much you need to write. What is the thought process? And this is the floor. And as Kiranana and Sandipana also highlighted in GS-1 session, the ceiling is the topper copies. Why is topper copies are the ceiling? Because you will understand where to stop. Otherwise, you will go on collecting examples, go on collecting keywords, go on collecting PDFs. So that shouldn't happen. When you look at the topper copies, oh, this is for integrity questions, he has written only this much. So this is what is expected. I don't need to overdo it. That is called as the ceiling. And PYQs, then foundational reading, they will give you the floor. So this is how you should approach any GS paper. So usually just refer through 2-3 topper copies, you will realize what is the ceiling.
Standard. So you all are beginners, or have you read ethics once, twice, something like that? So very beginners. So what sir said, no, you can follow that. Like, take a book, study it thoroughly, understand the concepts, look around yourself if you can give examples for that, and then make all the cheat sheets or the example sheets, do PYQs, see topper copies. If you do this step by step, no, it will not be exhaustive, or you'll not feel like it is too much. Always go step 2 only after doing step 1. It is difficult to go to step 2 at once, but if you follow it in a ladder form, it is easier, and you can definitely do it.
Stress overload in gym community. Where you slowly increase the weights on a weekly basis rather than trying to do all things at once. And understand that don't take ethics into your ego. So what happens is that most people, when they say, sir, no, sir, I have prepared ethics very well, I can do it. Ethics is one subject which can surprise you. You think you are well prepared and you will score 80, 85. Ethics requires that as important preparation as other GS optional as well, because ethics, as ma'am told, the golden triangle is essay, ethics and optional. So you have to ensure you are fetching minimum, even on a bad day you are fetching minimum 110 in it. You have
And
to
cost benefit is also much more, sir, here.
call a CBA, cost benefit analysis. For the effort that you put in, ethics will give you the highest reward. So if you put even just 20 days of effort for ethics, it is going to give you nearly 120, 130 marks. And understand, in the end, everything comes down to competition. Let's say you are scoring 105, your competitor is scoring 110, 150. That itself is the difference of 10 marks. 10 marks can keep you in top 100, and 10 marks can put you out of the list. So you have to maximize your marks in ethics. So here, another thing that I wanted to tell is that all of you are beginners if you haven't written a main set. That is, just because you have completed something, don't think that you have become an expert at it. Why I am saying this is because until and unless you have experienced the real pressure of writing mains, you do not know what UPSC is about. Most of us write prelims and think prelims is the toughest part. And then comes ethics, the mains with a big blow. In mains, see, like let's say you took just 1 minute to drink some water. 1 minute, that is 7 minutes for 10 marker. That is, if you lose 1 minute, that means you have 6 minutes, you are losing 1 marks. So that is, you have to get accustomed to pressure through your answer writing, through your practice. So don't just focus on reading and not practicing at all. So to make sure you are writing minimum 2 answers every day for all the GS, especially for ethics. Ethics, even if you are one of the most beautiful contents, during that exam pressure, your mind will go blank. So only if you practice from right now, you will be able to handle ethics, especially ethics. GS 1, 2, 3, you can manage on your knowledge, but not ethics. So make sure you are practicing QIQs, minimum 2 answers every day.
And you can have a simulation tests of real mains exam beforehand in itself. You know what problem you will face? You will write GS1, GS2. You'll come back home at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow you have to write GS3 and GS4. You have only a night to revise everything, whatever you have read. So that becomes a problem. So you can do the same thing before mains itself. For example, if you have completed studying foundation, everything by now, and have given prelims this year, and unfortunately, if you have not cleared prelims, think that you're writing mains this year itself. Start preparing as if you're writing mains this year. Write all the test series, everything. And the only difference between a person who has qualified prelims and you should be that they're writing the exam in the exam hall, and you would be writing the exam in the library or in the classroom. So you will have that simulation beforehand, before itself. So that next year when you write mains, that would be the repetition of what you have done now, and that would not be a new thing. So that will actually add value, and you will know how to use that 5 hours you are getting to study the whole subject, and how to write all answer in the 3 hours in the stress, right? When you go through the grind, when you do the real practice is not in the exam hall, the real war is not in the exam hall. It is all the preparation you are doing now, so that during the actual exam hall, you would be comfortably reducing the stress and writing in a better way. So, ethics versus GS answers. GS answers, you have content. You will write all the content you have, governance, institutions, laws, schemes, etc. But in ethics answer, what they check is your inherent value. So what would you do? All the values, you would present it on the paper. Now, that every one of us does. Plus, what we can do is, we can have a ethical vocabulary, or what is known as moral vocabulary with ethical reasoning. So that would make our answers even more presentable manner, right? So there are certain things, every step you do, your answers will definitely increase. Sir has a list of moral vocabulary. I guess you have put it on your channel, sir.
And also here understand what is the difference between ethics and GS papers. Usually in GS2 there is something called as governance. In GS2 syllabus, in GS4 there is bureaucratic ethics. What we usually do is that write GS2 governance answers into the bureaucratic ethics answers. You should use bureaucratic ethics, the GS2 governance perspectives to enrich your answers, but not to completely replace the ethical aspects in your bureaucratic ethics aspect. For example, let's take the concept of code of conduct. Code of conduct. When we are talking about code of conduct from governance perspective, you are looking at code of conduct from the perspective of institutions, perspective of government. So what is code of conduct? What is code of ethics? The government has certain rules for the bureaucrats to follow. So those rules to which bureaucrats should adhere is called as code of conduct. So for that, one example is code of conduct rules of 1964. And the recent social media guidelines for Labasna also. They are called as code of conduct. See, in GS2, you are looking at it from the government and institutional perspective. What about GS4? You are looking at from the perspective of a common man. You are writing what code of conduct means to you as a common man, rather than looking at it from the top. So usually, GS2, you are looking from the government perspective towards the service delivery. In here, you are looking from the common man's perspective. For example, code of conduct. Kautilya talks about something called as Raj Dharma. That is, there are some values, there are some rules that a king should adhere to ensure, what is the Kautilya's principle? The Yogakshema principle, right? So Kautilya talks about Raj Dharma to ensure Yogakshema. So this is the common man is saying that there are some Raj Dharmas that a civil servant should follow to ensure maximum service delivery. And then there is something called as doctrine of public trust. Doctrine of public trust, what is happening? The public have certain trust on the government, on the bureaucrats, that he will do these duties. He will perform, he will provide service delivery to us. It is called as the doctrine of public trust. Here, the doctrine of public trust comes from the citizens towards the institutions. So here, in ethical perspective, your perspective shifts towards a common man's. What does common man expect? So in ethics also, like, your perspectives should focus on that. So this is the major difference between GS2 and ethics answers. So this is like where usually people lose marks, and if you are able to find the difference, then you will get very good marks in this aspect.
Similarly, if citizen charter, it is a subject present both in governance and in ethics. Citizen charter, in governance, we study pillars of citizen charter, the document, what it contains, etc. But when you're studying ethics, you have to understand the values behind the citizen charter. Citizen-centric governance, transparency. So these are the values which are present in the citizen charter from the ethics perspective. That is how differentiate your answer.
Is the ethics, what your ethics answer should consist of, the most important aspect. So first of all, ma'am will explain this and she will display her notes. So to explain you further about how to integrate definitions, mythology, civil servants, FAQ demands, thinkers, ethical keywords in your answers. For me personally, simply if you have to tell me what is ethics, it's about your personality, ethics is about your keywords and good examples. If you are able to find one unique example that others are not rating, that is where your USP is. Ethics is your personality plus keywords plus examples. I will explain further on that.
Okay, this was my notes for. Okay, so I am preparing for corruption. So, so corruption, one quote, I'll keep it in mind. So if any topic on corruption comes, I can use that quote. That is what I told. You don't have to collect quotes and keep a big book of quotes. No, topic wise, keep one quote. Make your preparation easier. Then types of corruption. This everyone, all of us know. Coercive corruption, collusive corruption. Then see examples. Siemens scandal, Vipam scam. So these examples you can directly use in the exam hall. So this is that, according to Manoj's language, USP. Okay, and then causes of corruption. Here, okay, from administrative factors, these are like different factors which we can think. So, Santhanam committee tells scope of discretion, and because of all the different difficult procedure, corruption is happening. This we know. We can use this one word in our ethics answers whenever corruption comes. If the question demands, and we can write this. We can write this. Use of 3 M's: money, muzzle, and manipulation. ORA committee report. What does ORA committee report tells? Corruption, one of the biggest reason for corruption is the nexus between the politicians and bureaucratic. Can we use this with live examples and write in exam? Your note should be very simple, maybe minimalistic, but content must be good. Then the social factors. Okay, now this is what is different from governance and ethics. We will have some hidden values or philosophical basis for every topic. That is, Kautilya's Arthashastra or virtue ethics contradicts the honesty, because of which corruption happens, or utilitarianism theory, which you can use. Because of corruption, there would be negative consequences. So that the different theories and values which you should approach in a ethics answer. You understand from ethical perspective how we think. So for each different topic, you can have a philosophical or value-based basis for why, what, how to prevent it. Then challenges, this is okay. Then measures taken. Again, this become importance. Why this? Because why this becomes important? With this, you can make your SOPs for the answers related to corruption questions. When you know how to use, you have to use Lokpal, CBI, ED, CVC, or what does Corruption Act 2013 says. If you write this in your answer, that will enrich in your answers. Or measures taken. Then this is again ways to tackle. You can write Kenneth Kigner's recommendation. What does Kenneth Kigner tells? You have to have a strict separation between politicians and civil servants. So then corruption would not happen. So there are some recommendations from ethical point of view which you can use in exam. Police reforms like community policing. This is also one. McKinsey's report tells if corruption in India decreases, GDP will increase by 1.5%, investment will increase by 12%. You can somehow use it. So this is for questions which are interlinked between governance and ethics. For example, citizen charter, RTI, corruption. For all those, you can make the single notes which I can use in both the papers. But you have a different lens to view it. For applied ethics, no, artificial intelligence. This is one point which we miss while preparing notes. Add pillars of ethical AI for each different topics. For example, applied ethics consists of topics like abortion, media, AI. So these are all the different emerging topics which is coming in the exam. Okay, sports AI, sports ethics. So all these different topics will help in solving case dilemmas. You can directly quote these pillars. Again, institutions will help you in case studies and all the different rules. And one conclusion, whole of society to whole of global approach. So if you make your notes this way, such that it covers every aspect of the topic in a crux manner, 2 to 3 pages. Each topic, every aspect should be touched and notes should be made in 2 to 3 pages. And then solve PYQs, see topper notes, add on to your notes. So your content will be ready. Repeated revision of the same content what you have studied from. No matter what questions come, I will write from these notes I have prepared. But what I should do, I should understand the demand of the question and I should mold my answer such that that should suit the demand of the question. You understood? This, I was discussing with sir itself, there are tail words. There are 2 kind of tail words in the questions. This is for GS especially. First type of tail words are called as descriptive tail words. And second type of tail words are called as critical tail words. Descriptive tail words includes words like trace, describe, mention. So if you get such words in the question, that means examiner wants more of information and less of analysis. Now, the other type of tail words are critical tail words. Here, questions will be like examine, discuss, critically analyze. So here, with information, the examiner want analysis. You understanding? So for example, here is a boy. Now, if some questions come from descriptive words, it should be like he's tall, his height is so much, or his name is so and so. This is description. But when it comes to critical questions, you have to use things like he's good about this, he's bad about this. That is critically analyzing things. So if you understand this basic difference between the tail words, then you'll understand the demand of the question. Once you understand the demand of the question, go to your notes and see how you can write from your notes. Because ultimately, in that, you will read your notes, study that. And all the PYQ analysis, when you make notes, add to your own notes itself. When you do topper copies analysis, those keywords add to your notes. In the hand, you should have your own notes, which comprises analysis of all the different things you have done in a crux manner. Understood? So for me, everything should be in a structured way so that your journey should be smoother, easier.
So happening notes making, what is happening during notes making is that we usually over collect a lot of copper copies or any PDFs, and we think that everything is important. That is why I always suggest make notes on your own, and especially for ethics. So let's say there is a 10 marker, there is any concept AI. You saw ma'am how simple the notes was, just 2 pages notes for AI, and whatever the question comes on AI, she will be able to handle it. This is something I call 80-20 rule or 70-30, anything works. That is for any topic that has come in ethics, PYQs so far, your 80% of the content that you are going to write in the exam should be ready. So let's say you talk, we learned about AI ethics now. So there is something called as accountability ambiguity in ethics, black box problem in ethics. Then there is the racial bias that is there in ethics. Then there are certain challenges. Then as solutions, we have Manav principles for ethics. Then we have the fate principles for ethics. Then there is Delhi Declaration on AI ethics. So like this, whatever the question on AI ethics, I'm writing these keywords and examples that I mentioned right now. And according to the exact demand of the question, I will be generating 20 to 30% points on spot, according to adapting, according to the necessity of the question. So for any question, even in ethics, even in other GS, your 70 to 80% of the content should be ready. That it should be reproducible on the examination day. So here, how can we make note making? Ma'am has done it in 2-3 pages. So I can also, from my perspective, I would suggest digital note making. In the beginning phase, then convert it into offline, page-based, like offline writing-based notes making. In digital notes making, let's say you are studying integrity. So integrity is repeating, let's say, as repeated 5 to 6 times in last 10 years. So you will create a heading called as integrity. Under that, you will start adding whatever you learned from that PYQ analysis. So let's say today you got one example about mythological example. You add it there. The example of Lord Sri Ram or Bharata, someone like that, you add it there. Then after 1 week, you got an example of a civil servant who has shown integrity. Add it here. So what is happening is there is that the digital notes are a bit easier to update, as well as they are, let's say you came across a thought, like you were thinking about integrity and you found a new meaning for integrity. For example, this is what I discussed in class. What is integrity? Integrity is the ability to look at yourself at the end of the day without any guilt, remorse, or sadness. Did you understand? Integrity is the ability to look at yourself at the end of the day, look at yourself in the mirror at the end of the day without any guilt, regret, or remorse. So don't you think it is such a beautiful definition of integrity? This is coming from my personal thought process. So you can add it in your notes. So then after that, if you feel you have completed, you have a strong notes in digital format, convert it into 1-pager, 2-pager notes as ma'am did. And just don't copy paste everything that you see. You read a PDF, you saw a solution for integrity. Don't copy paste the whole solution itself. Always your notes should always be based on keywords. That is, this is called as active learning, active revision. You saw a keyword, you wrote down a keyword. That is, you wrote for AI ethics, let's say you wrote accountability, ambiguity. You thought you understood it. Next time when you're revising it, you are getting confused. What is accountability, ambiguity? That means you haven't understood it. Then you will go back and do extra research on accountability, ambiguity. Then you will understand it better. Otherwise, what is happening is that if you copy paste the complete paragraphs or complete definition itself, you are not forcing your brain to think. Accountability, ambiguity means when there is lack of clarity on the stakeholders whom the accountability holds. Then you are not forcing your brain to think. That is called as passive revision. Active revision is one of the best ways to remember things. So, while notes making, you can follow this approach. You can take best points from our perspective, making 2-3 pages for every topic. From my perspective, digital note making.
You can actually do this. Okay. Okay, this thing you're told, right? Integrity, personal significance, again contemporary relevance, administrative examples, keywords, definition. Honesty, and so on. Can we do this? Can you fill this tabular column on your own, like whenever you find examples from your surroundings, newspaper? What? Personal significance. In the sense, for integrity, you can add something like personal significance for integrity.
Personal significance is what you feel about integrity. That is, how does integrity applicable to you as a person? So I gave the example of what integrity means to me.
Or not copying in exam even if you get a chance to.
Yeah, very good. Like personal significance where you can bring the thought processes of the greats. For example, Mahatma Gandhi ji in his book, My Experiments with Truth, he highlights what is integrity. Integrity is choosing difficult things, even if they are going to cause us problems. But in the end, choosing peace over anything else. Choosing peace over money, peace over power. You may lose your integrity for power, money, and everything. But if you choose your peace, that is if you don't get into the crisis of conscience, if you don't face that, that is integrity, right? So that is your personal opinion.
With this one chart, which will be for 4 to 5 pages, sir. With this, they can do wonders in the exam hall.
Yeah, like if you look at most of the topper notes also, they have made it in this format only. So you can use it for your note making as well.
Okay, that was whatever we discussed right now. Personal significance, contemporary relevance, and administrative examples of integrity, some officers, and then keywords. For example, integrity has integrity pact, something like that. And then you are understanding maybe some last different column. You choose your columns. That is what I meant. But you can have a different perspective where you can put it into that different columns. And this will be handy before exam.
That further, ma'am has given you a beautiful framework. Please note it down. Note it down. First one was. The first one was
Personal.
integrity. The first one is the definition. So you should have a standard definition ready for most of the ethical keywords. For example, integrity, supererogation, altruism, compassion. You should have a standard definition ready.
Even for attitude, aptitude, all such things.
For every ethical keyword, you should have a standard definition ready. After that, your personal significance. In your personal significance, you can write down whatever ethics that particular keyword means to you. So what is compassion? For me, personally, compassion is about karma. See, like you can bring theories there, but it is my perspective. For me, like when I help someone else, the universe will find a way to help me. Universe will bless me with peace, happiness. The universe will bless me with gratitude. So for me, compassion is about karma. See, I'm not making it mechanical here. Whatever I'm saying, I truly believe in that. So that is the personal significance aspect. For example, whenever it comes to the concept of scientific temper, so there is a question on scientific temper in applied ethics. I always think of APJ Abdul Kalam sir. He always talked about scientific temper, right? Inculcating the technological prowess in the young minds. That is why he wrote books like Wings of Fire, then Ignited Minds, Vision 2020. He wrote books like that. So I will explain. That is as APJ Abdul Kalam sir highlighted his book Vision 2020. The scientific temper is one pillar that is going to help India reach its true potential. Like that. That is how you bring in your personal aspects. Then administrative perspectives, that is collect examples that are called as non-cliche. You know, cliche examples that are overused. I'm not saying you shouldn't use those examples. But when 95 people are writing the same examples of Armstrong Palme or TN Session, the same examples, you should think of someone who has done it in 2025, 2026. If you go to betterindia.com, you will get such examples. Just go through betterindia.com examples of 1-2 months. You will get minimum 100 examples.
Even so, that is there on Instagram. You can just follow that so that unconsciously that will come in your feed.
No. Don't use Instagram at all. Don't open Instagram at all. I know the loop that you will fall into. So use it through their websites or use it through any compilations.
I prefer balance, sir.
No, like it depends on your self-control. It is called as what Mahatma Gandhi ji called as Swami Vivekananda calls about the Swanigraha. That is ability to control our thoughts, our actions. So this is how an administrative examples. 2025, let's say some civil servant has done great things. 26. Add their examples. So what is happening is that you are writing a very unique examples which you can connect with the evaluator. And contemporary, what is integrity means in a contemporary world? So for example, you know about the social media hypocrisy, right? Everyone preaches about the civic ethics, the civic common sense, the civic sense. But when it comes to their own duty of performing civic actions, they fail. For example, best example is that our Bengaluru is having one of the highest literacy rates in India. That is around 95-96%. And our voting percentage in 2024 elections was just 52%. Right? So do you think there is integrity there? That is, on the election day, our Gen Z or like anyone, especially the youth, are going on parties, are going on trips, rather than voting. And in West Bengal, where there is very low literacy, there was 94% voting. In Bihar, where there is low literacy, there was 75% voting. Then who is more literate? Who is more patriotic? The person who performs his duty to the nation is more patriotic, right? So then contemporary aspects like that, they are called as contemporary examples. See, understand the thought process. Whatever I'm telling, it is coming off organically. I'm not trying to force examples. I'm not trying to memorize an example and vomit. It's my genuine thought process. This is the thought process that you should develop through analysis. So let's say you read some newspaper article. Ask yourself, what value can I take it from that newspaper article? How can I use this newspaper article in my answers? For example, I will give you a very beautiful example. Karnataka, I was reading Prajavani. There was a very good initiative called as Gruha Arogya Yojana. So Gruha Arogya is what? Especially for elderly who can't visit hospital, there will be a regular health checkup at your home only. For pregnant women, for disabled population, for the elderly. There will be going to checkups when the doctor will visit your home and they will perform the necessary healthcare, they will provide the necessary healthcare facilities. That is called Gruha Arogya. So as soon as I saw that, I was able to connect. Oh, I can use it in the society questions, because society questions, one of the aspects is women empowerment, or and even in social justice, even in governance.
In ethics, we can use it in values like compassion.
Exactly. In GS-3, you will use it in inclusive development. GS-4, you will use it in
Compassion.
compassion. Whenever you are talking about compassion, can't you write this example? As soon as you read it, try to analyze, where can I use it? Where can I apply it? Rather than mere collection of examples, you should genuinely understand whatever you are studying. So then that is the contemporary perspective. Keywords. So I was talking about integrity, right? So integrity, when it comes to integrity, I have certain 5 keywords ready, 5 to 10 keywords ready, that you are going to write as soon as you see about integrity. For example, I always write about Manasa Vacha Karma. What is integrity? Integrity is when Manasa, that is our mind, Vacha, when what we speak, Karma, what we do, they are in resonance. That is called as integrity. So I bring the theory of Bhagavad Gita, Manasa Vacha Karma theory. So as soon as you see the keyword, your mind should run to the keywords, should run to all these aspects. As soon as you see the keyword, that is the thought process that is required in the real mains exam. Because in mains exam, you won't get more than 1 minute to brainstorm. You are not even 1 minute. Especially if your handwriting is as fast as me, then maybe 1 minute. But if your handwriting is medium or slow, you will get only 30 seconds to brainstorm. So like that. Then keywords, then theories. Integrity, whom can we bring in?
Virtue ethics. Integrity
Virtue
is a
ethics.
virtue. Then what we're telling, no, Manasa Vacha Karma. That is, according to Gandhian ethics, the integrity means thoughts, words, deeds. That supports integrity as a theory.
How did you understand how to make notes? This, if you do it for all the keywords that you come across in ethics, PYQs, then 80% of your job is done. And don't say that, no, I will go through Nivedita ma'am's notes, I will pick it from there and I will do that. Build your own, because whenever you build your own, you are analyzing things. Otherwise, you are just becoming a Xerox.
And whatever contemporary relevance I would have added then, it would be of 25. Now contemporary things are changed. So you can add new things. And if I put my things on Telegram also, everyone will use that thing. How is it unique now? Understood? Like, this is how your preparation. Preparation is the actual exam. Exam is just the result of your preparation. Okay, 7 notes what we thought. Western thinkers, Indian thinkers, ethical vocabulary. This you have to collect. Definition and quotes. You can add this everything now we simplified in that one tabular column. Definition, quotes, multi-sectoral example, civil servant example, mythology and philosophy can be one more tabular column in that itself, sir, now. In that tabular column, we'll add one more mythology and philosophical column. Right? Each value will have all these different things. Then you can see 3 different R's for any person would be read, revise, recall. What we do, we'll read, we will revise. And where do we recall? In the exam hall.
We try to recall, not recall.
Okay, where do we try to recall? In the exam hall. But what if we recall before exam hall? Our brain would have practiced it multiple times. And is it too huge, heavy notes? No, simple, some notes. So recall it multiple times. Then in the exam hall, it is just writing. And sir was telling about speed. I used to do this practice. Okay, you can also do. Take a page. I used to, this actually my friend told me, take a page, keep a timer for 3 minutes. Then write this. Till Z. This is first line, second line, third line, fourth line. Write ABCD to Z itself. You know why I choose ABCD to write it? It is because this you are writing from your subconscious mind. Even in the exam hall, you will be writing from your subconscious mind. You will not have so much time to think and write. You will write whatever you know. Just scribble whatever you know. So, when you write up to Z, in 3 minutes, how many lines can you write? Now, see it daily. How many sentences you can write on the 10th day, on the 11th day. For some methods, like for this, an average UPSC aspirant writes 14 times in 3 minutes. This is according to what we group of students have written, according to our analysis. So if you are somewhere coming around 14, 15 lines, then it's okay. If you are coming around 18, 19 lines, then it would be Manoj sir. So, but okay. Then when you write like this, you'll understand, you'll assess yourself where you are standing. So everything, do it in a structured way.
All about you. Mindset. You think as an evaluator, the quality of points is you will award more marks, make you offer 1 marks more, right? And you will give for 1 marks less to someone who has written. Where the game. How to understand the competition, the 12,000 people are the chosen one.
12,000 serious people.
So to show your quality of answers the highest level, you have to get us mind. Also, those who have poor handwriting, work on it from right now. Or going, PhD doesn't care. Handwriting, prove it. This is for work on it. Because we were discussing, people may say that your English doesn't matter.
For me, it does.
For me, because vocabulary matters. Let's say you are writing a story things for some portray certain thought process about how bureaucracy follows rule rather than providing services according to the need of the society. You are writing that. You will write a single keyword named as bureaucratic. Whenever you are expressing it in lines and words, also matters. Know that. The true reality, because of people who are really serious. So I'm not scaring you. And now 1 year is more than for handwriting, vocabulary. 1 year is such a long time.
And one word, you can learn one vocabulary, one word in a day. Next word, next vocabulary, next day. Consistent agi one word kaltkonodre. You'll have so many words. English also means that like not all, like these are like spillers. Here and there you can use. And this will add on to that plus 0.5, 0.25 marks in your answers. Definitely, like do it aram se. That's all.
See, you don't need Oxford English. You need Local English. Like what I am talking is local English.
Administrative English.
Yeah, you need to have the administrative vocabulary. There is something called as administrative vocabulary that you need to bring in your answers also. You can develop that administrative vocabulary only if you read newspapers also. That newspapers will give you the administrative vocabulary. See, like let's say you are reading an article by M.K. Narayanan sir, who is the former National Security Advisor, just like Ajit Doval sir. He was the former National Security Advisor. He brings some administrative keywords. Then you can inculcate in your answers. Kiranana was telling about the comprehensive national power, right? If you have read Hindu, M.K. Narayanan sir uses the word comprehensive national power a lot of times. Then you show the curiosity. Go to Google, search for what is comprehensive national power. Then you will come across that. Then military power. Look at where India stands. Always in ethics, ethics is always about your optimistic, solution-oriented perspectives. 100 people can come together in a room and discuss challenges. No, corruption is a challenge. Corruption is ruining our nation. Because of corruption, that is happening, this is happening. Bihar, that you call bridge fell. Like that, you can always discuss corruption. You can discuss about the negatives. But as a civil servant, you should always be looking at solutions. So this is corruption is the problem. For this problem, what can be the solution? For this problem, for problem B, what can be the solution? Practical solution.
And certain best practices also.
Yeah, best practices. So when you look at best practices, what are best practices? There was a challenge. They have solved it somehow. You can integrate, inculcate in your district, in your state, in your nation.
That Armstrong Pan is crowdfunding.
Very good. So like this is the thought process that is required. That is why I am saying whenever you write ethics essay, it is about your personality. If you are an optimistic person, you will always write solutions way forward in your answer. You will always go through any topper copies, you will somehow find that they are trying to look for solutions. Challenges, everyone, 99 people will look for challenges, that one civil servant will look for the solutions. Speak loudly.
See, sir also addressed that you don't need Oxford level of English.
Do you know a concept called as Madhyam Marg?
Yeah. So no Oxford level of English, but bureaucratic administrative language will add on to that enrichment. Right? Even after becoming civil servant, you have to read documents, right? Same similar things you are doing it now. And we are not preparing for English exam also. Simple level up. That's all what is required.
You can't give an excuse that you are poor in English. At the same time, you don't need Shashi Tharoor level English. All you need is administrative language. Because understand, if your competitors are writing answers and you are writing these answers, you will miss behind them. The evaluator will give you off marks less. For the same content, the evaluator may give you off marks less. Again, that is the difference.
And you have preparation time also. Hardly each subject will have 20 to 25 keywords. That is what is nothing but good English. 20 to 25 keywords we can use, right?
Mythology and philosophical examples, we understand the perspective of the evaluator. The evaluator is someone who is at their 50s, 60s. They know about mythology a lot. They know about the civil keywords a lot. So let's say you're talking about how bureaucracy is not responsive. Other than
Bureaucratic apathy. Sir just told the phrase, I told the keyword. Because everyone know that keyword.
See how our thought processes are aligning. As soon as you see a problem where the bureaucracy is not responsive, immediately the keyword goes to bureaucratic apathy.
And we never prepared together. Like this is what everyone does.
Apathy, like if you have studied ethics, Apathy, sympathy, empathy, compassion. That is the curve, right? You know about this diagram. Apathy, empathy, empathy, compassion. You know about this diagram, right? You have studied ethics. You have come across this diagram. Using the same keywords that I am using. But don't you think it explains the concept beautifully? So this is how our thought process. And it's a game of keywords.
And one question here from online, two questions. First is, what is the Telegram channel name? I don't have a Telegram channel. And second question is, uh, for you, CSAT paper. That we can do it later. And CSAT paper, how to approach CSAT paper. Maybe we can conduct a different session for as such for prelims subjects.
When in Rome, be like once. Now the ethics session is going on. So focus on your ethics. Now it's the time to focus on mains. Focus on mains. Right now, it's not the time for your prelims. It doesn't matter if you are scoring 20 marks, 30 marks in your prelims 2026. It's not going to matter. I can assure you, if you put your dedicated efforts for 6 months between January till May in the right direction, if you start, I posted about a Drishti editorial analysis. One editorial analysis will be there. I posted it on my group. Every day there is going to be one editorial analysis. Just 15 minutes, 20 minutes it will take. Focus on reading newspaper every day. Focus on editorial analysis like that. Build it as a habit. What happens during prelims? What we do is that try to read a compilation. We try to mug it up, and we think that we can expect direct questions in UPSC based on what we have mugged up. That's not going to happen. Even prelims is more game of analysis, more game of analytics than mains, because prelims is an objective exam. So even Jan to June, focus on your CSAT preparation. Right now till December, your mains preparation as higher ROI. What is ROI? Return on investment. Because in your mains preparation, every half marks counts. Let's say like if you are giving 8 to 10 hours of dedicated effort, every half marks counts. That doesn't mean you have to neglect prelims. You have to start preparing for prelims by focusing on your static portion, strengthening it. It is helpful for mains also. It is helpful for prelims also. Read newspaper, strengthen it. Then read editorials, strengthen it. That way you are preparing for mains also, prelims also. So now coming back to the ethics aspect, what were we discussing?
Vocabulary. Okay, there is one more question. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one is watching. How to approach this type of questions? From my perspective, that same thing, whatever I had written in tabular column, I would have written in paper. All different examples with the subheadings. Introduction and conclusion.
See, integrity is doing doing the right thing when no one is watching. But there is someone watching. Who is it?
God.
Our self-conscience, right? This is why Mahatma Gandhi ji told, there is a greater court of justice than anything else. That is the court of conscience, right? Then integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. That is irrespective of the accountability aspects. So like now understand the difference between accountability and responsibility. What is accountability? Accountability is a formal phenomena, is institutional phenomena. But responsibility is your inherent phenomena. Responsibility. There was a, for example, if you know, in 1965, when there was a train issue, Morarji Desai resigned, taking the responsibility on him. Responsibility comes down. I forgot whether it is Morarji Desai or not. So responsibility comes from within. Accountability comes from the outside. Accountability is what? As a civil servant, the government is keeping accountability on you. Are you following code of conduct? That is accountability. Responsibility is what? Are you following your own conscience? So there is a concept called as supererogation. Supererogation is what? Going beyond our duty to do something good for the people. That is called as supererogation. So in supererogation, are you able to go beyond your duty, go beyond the limitations of accountability for performing good to the society? That is responsibility. Then don't you think this distinction itself addresses the original question? That is, integrity is what? Ensuring responsibility even when there is no accountability.
Responsibility is answerable to the self. Accountability is answerable to someone else.
Now, this is the thought process. Like, this thought process is coming organically. This comes from your understanding. If you just mug up examples, keywords, thinkers, it is not going to help. Because the questions are going to be bouncers. You will prepare something for integrity, and thus, as soon as you see a question, you're like, this is not the content I prepared for. UPSC is not going to care about what have you prepared. The UPSC is going to care whether you prepared. Are you prepared for being a civil servant? So,
Yeah, for any answer, understand the demand of the question, and from your understanding, your notes, try to modulate and write the answer. There are different theories which everyone talks about, and you would have known it, how to use different.
what we are doing now is there is my perspective, my
Perspective.
interpretation of what is necessary for ethics. There is ma'am's perspective. So far, both of us can be right? That is the
Yeah.
Anekatavada principle. Anekatavada is what? There are multiple truths. There is no
Single
truth.
truth.
So,
You should have all these theories with you in a single sheet. Theories, what is the crux of the theory? So you can directly put it in the exam. Red tape to red carpet. This you can use in citizen charter. Not in governance, but in ethics.
this is what our Honorable Prime Minister said on Civil Services Day. That bureaucracy should move from red tapeism towards giving the red carpet welcome for the modern reforms. Right? So, conclusion, whenever there is a conclusion on, let's say, bureaucratic apathy, red tapeism and all, can't you write it as a conclusion, as an introduction? What can you write? So you can write that, as our Honorable PM highlighted, bureaucracy should move from red tapeism towards red carpet for modern day reforms to ensure responsiveness. So you can create some value added conclusions like this.
Even second one we can use from rule based to role bound empathy to abolish bureaucratic apathy. So using these notes, you can address different demands of the question.
And in my class, we discussed about analytics, mathematical analytics. Please replace this word with any word that you want to calculate in your answers. Same way, replace this according to the demand of the question. So it will become a framework in itself. Conscience-based compliance. Sure. Ethics, the most important aspect is that finding that middle ground. Your compliance is also important. Just because you are empathetic, that doesn't mean you have to go on breaking the laws for showing your empathy. There was a case study, do you know that? Like ration card, like elderly people come to you, they don't have ration card, they haven't eaten from 3 days. What would you do? So what you would do is that, no, even if they don't have documents and all, I will provide PDS for them. Then do you think it is really going to work? Because let's say you did it out of pure compassion. Then the next person, your successor, may say that guy broke the laws. Why shouldn't I break? I will also give PDS to whomever I want. then it is leading to a chain of events, right? So then whatever your good intentions are, that can be misused by someone else. So it is called as slippery slope effect.
Slippery slope.
Slippery slope effect. Google it. If you don't know, Google it right now.
So for any such things, what you can do is for that you can think in a way there is a sunset clause for a particular amount of time and a targeted intervention. So if these two things are kept in mind for such question, you can write answers. Sunset clause means for a week, PDS for women for a week until targeted intervention for these kind of people. They are maybe very necessary kind of people, targeted intervention along with sunset clause. So if you use that strategy, that will help, because it is with the sunset clause, you will have to do work for them to prove their other card or to get their other card in a short period of time. So think like a bureaucrat. And that thing was also there. No, don't try to create new content. You already have the content which you have prepared. Put it in a way.
If I PYQs, help you with some understanding. How do we approach that question? That will give you an understanding, especially in your notes making, especially in your thought process.
Ethics has been done. See, there is a author who once said, okay, that all war is a diplomacy by other means. Critically analyze the above statement in the present context of contemporary geopolitical conflict. Here, first tailword is critically analyze. This means information with analysis. First thing to strike in mind. And they are limiting our answer because we cannot give any examples we want in the present context of contemporary geopolitics. So we should talk about contemporary things. They are limiting our thought process. Matlab, we cannot add whatever we want to. So this is the demand of the question. Analyze.
Think on it.
Now, war ethics itself is a topic, if you had prepared properly.
So like I will read the question again. War is diplomacy by other means. War is diplomacy by other means. Critically analyze the above statement in the present context of contemporary geopolitical conflicts.
What is diplomacy? Why war is a diplomacy?
And this is all the difference, because you may listen to one All India rank, one sessions. You may listen to India's best teachers. You don't think on your own, and if you expect spoon feeding, you are going to fail. Because in the end, when you become an IAS, APS officer, the thought process has to be your own. Your mentor, your All India rank one, or anyone is not going to take that decisions for you. You have to think and you have to make your decisions. That is what is expected even here. Think on your for 1 minute, and after that we will.
And also by thinking, by making good decisions from now, making it a habit, no one can stop you from not clearing UPSC exams. So do this as a habit.
fine. Excellent example. That is
Contemporary example.
contemporary example. That is when diplomacy fails, war is one of the solutions. War is a diplomacy of ensuring our national security, national interest is upheld. So very good example of Operation Sindoor. Then
This, sir, they can substantiate with what is known as just war theory of ethics. This is where your preparation comes in handy. When you study war ethics as a subject, there will be some theories. War ethics, that is just war theory. That means proportionately you can do things so that you can cause a good for large number of people. So that is just cause. There should be a good cause for you to do even war.
just think from your, when you see the word war, what do you remember? You remember the Mahabharata, Kurukshetra war. And to bring like think from that perspective. Just war theory, just in bello, just ad bellum are called as war theories. So you can bring that perspective. And also think Sama, Dama, Danda, Veda. So war is diplomacy by other means. Diplomacy is what? Sama, negotiation.
Kautilian ethics.
If that doesn't work, Dana. If that doesn't work, Danda. That doesn't work. Don't you think it's a beautiful integration? Then you can bring the US-Iran war. You can bring how 60,000 innocent civilians have died in the Gaza. That is using humans as a means rather than end.
Ends.
Which is that theory? Is that theory? That theory?
This is like first two theories we study in ethics.
Exactly, that's what. No, not John Kant. Which is that theory? Humans as a means versus humans as an end. How many of you have read theory? Consequentialism versus deontology. Deontology talks about humans as means versus humans as end. Don't you think it's applicable here? So like that. That is how our thought process should be. And the first part, like critically analyze. You have to say how war can be sometimes important, helpful also. At the same time, you have to highlight the negative of war.
Arguments for, arguments against the statement because it is critically analyzed. Critical keyword.
So we'll go on to this aspect. The greatest discovery of my generation that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitudes. We already discussed that point, right? How attitude changes, how attitude forms, how attitude changes. There is a beautiful quote by Socrates on wisdom. There are 3 ways to gain wisdom. Note it down. 3 ways to gain wisdom is through introspection. It is the noblest because you are asking the questions to yourself. You are breaking down your ego and you are challenging yourself. Am I doing what is correct? That is called as self-introspection, which is the noblest because you are breaking the negative energies. Then the second one, through inspiration. We talked about the demonstration effect, right? So through inspiration, you are changing your attitude based on the inspiration of other people. Just like that, you are going through topper copies. You are getting inspired. What points should I integrate in my notes, in my answers? That is inspiration, which is the easiest. Because you do not have to go through the struggles that we went through for 4-5 years. You are just looking at our answers and trying to inculcate the points in your answers. Third one is experience. Is the bitterest. Because you have to go through the trouble on your own. So now think this question, the attitude question. So if you, the greatest discovery of human life, that a human can change his future by changing his attitude. Breaking down his rigidity. Being adaptable according to the necessity of the situations. Which best example can you quote? Think Angulimala. He changed his life by changing his attitude, right? Became one of the greatest servants of Buddha. followers of Buddha, right? Don't you think that example is perfectly suitable there?
Planning Commission to Niti Aayog.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful contemporary based example.
That is from top down to bottom up approach.
See, you know about Nishkam Karma.
Nishkama Karma.
Nishkam Karma, right? What is Nishkam Karma? Performing our duties without any expectations of results. Then, what is Karma Yogi? A person who upholds the concept of Nishkam Karma and a person who performs his duties, that is karma, like a yogi. Is Karma Yogi? Then what is Mission Karma Yogi? Mission Karma Yogi is about the attitude change from red tapeism, from bureaucratic ritualism, from bureaucratic apathy, from technological aversion, creating someone who is technologically adaptable, who is empathetic, who is compassionate, who is digitally literate. That is Mission Karma Yogi. Right? How theory, contemporary examples.
Ashoka.
Ashoka, very good example. Ashoka. So like this is what our thought process should be. Now, did you understand that whatever we are telling, it is coming off very organically? We have studied ethics 1 year ago. We are still able to remember, recollect some examples. The same with the previous sessions also. Because they have internalized it. They have understood why this is necessary, the thought process. Here you will get the extra marks. And don't get scared. It's a step-by-step approach. You cannot collect all the 10 points. Let's say you have to have 10 points, let's say. Today, when you are solving PYQs, you may have 4 points. Tomorrow, you went through a topper copy, you got 1 more point. The next day, when you are writing a test through model solutions, you got 1 point. Newspapers, you got 1 point. That way, you are collecting 10 points. It's a process. Give time to the process. Don't be in a rush. Manoj sir is thinking like that. I have to reach that next day. Don't be in a rush.
Rome is not built in a day.
Whatever we have built, it is the experience of our 4 years. Right? The same way, I am not asking you to take 4 years. I am asking you to do the second step of wisdom. That is, take inspiration and learn from it.
Every topper is giving you different strategies. You pick what works for you. Then do according to that strategy. Plead in the preparation rather than in the war, rather than in the exam. Now little bit of hard work. Results are very fruitful.
In war.
And all this motivation we are giving will stay in a day, stay for a day, for a week. Real motivation is what you give to yourself.
Was the case study that I was talking about, that your district has faced flood, and your mother also is seriously sick, and your mother has passed away. What would you do? So these are case studies. See, like that is why in bureaucratic ethics case studies, find a balance between the standard operating procedures and also between your own values. So that is why go through the topper's essays, topper copies, understand what is their thought process in this case study. To go through the coaching materials, they are a bit plain in the sense they don't have additional thought process. When toppers are writing, humans are writing. They are giving the examples they can relate to. Means there was a case study on the bridge collapse in 2025 or 24. The bridge has collapsed in your district because of corruption. The contractor is some MLA's brother, uncle, like that. What would you do? So immediately I started. The above case resembles the bridge collapse in Bihar, where more than 30 people lost their lives. So I am giving the introduction, and I am telling to the evaluator that when I was reading newspaper, I came across this story. And immediately I am able to connect this story to my case study.
Sir, fortunately, even I wrote Bihar collapse.
This is what I said. from all the previous sessions that have happened so far, try to understand the thought process of toppers. Don't come for like content, don't come for strategies, come for the thought process. Even when you are utilizing the DRONA initiative, so when you are coming for mentorship, come for the thought process, ask intellectual questions, and then understand the thought process. And like if you, for the basic questions, like how to make notes, how to prepare, utilize next 6-7 months, watch these sessions as well as previous strategy sessions. They will give you an idea. In the end, you have 20 minutes, the topper has 20 minutes. So in the end, it's up to you to make the best utilization of those 20 minutes. Not about the topper. If you are coming for 20 minutes, you have to ensure you are learning something from that particular topper, rather than coming for chit chat, rather than coming for your emotional outburst. So then, and also like, I'm also conducting mains with Magnus classes, ethics classes. So whatever I gave you so far is trailer. So attended class. How many of you have attended mains with Magnus ethics? Raise your hands. So if you are like, you can talk to them. If you think it can add value to your preparation, please do join it. Otherwise, make sure you whatever, like whether you join or not, it's not going to matter. Make sure your preparation is on the right track. That's it.
See, for case studies, this was a disaster management case. Here could not use. You can have this list, okay? For case studies, if any question comes, what are the things you should keep in mind? Whether it is a natural or man-made disaster. This you can highlight for any question. You can talk about control room and war room. You can write this for any disaster management question. Create a control room and war room. As an officer, you would do that. For any question, for any question related to disaster management, you can write this. You can talk about division of labor. That is using NGOs, using volunteers. Then you can talk about supply chain disruption that is happening there. So basic infrastructure reconstruction you have to do. Then you can take funds from DTRF, NDRF, SDRF. This also you can do. You can conduct voluntary donation campaigns from the nearby places. Then you can create safe community halls, schools, government buildings. Then information to the higher authorities and seek help from the higher authorities. You should do that in any disaster management case. Risk, then for long term, that is always immediate, short term, long term. So long term, what you will be doing? Risk hazard mapping of that place. Mock drills should be conducted. Triage system should be done for the disaster hit places. Rescue team, resource allocation. So these are all the different things which you should prepare. So any disaster management case comes, I can do this way. Immediately what I will do, short term what I will do, long term what I will do. So these different aspects will be there for you. That is that SOP what sir was talking about. And then from ethical perspective for these disaster management case, what you can add is principle of beneficence and non-maleficence. What is that? Beneficence is do good. Non-maleficence is do no harm. Do such things such that it is not harming anyone else and it is providing good for the people. Or ethics of resource allocation. Fairness and equitable framework. Ethics duty to prepare and mitigate. This is also important. Now you can have a approach ready. For example, assess the situation, whether it is natural or human made. Then determine what are the immediate needs you have to do. For example, any disaster management case, immediately what you should think about, health, basic needs like food, medicine, shelter. Then psychological support to all the people. So if you know these are the 3 immediate things you have to do, then when a case comes, when case study comes in exam, you can write it. These are the 3 things I will do. That is rapid need assessment. And then apply principles like beneficence, that is do good. Then non-maleficence, that is do no harm to anyone. Then comes allocate resources. While allocating resources, you can use principles like fairness, equity. So that initially the needs goes to the most vulnerable people, that is elderly, pregnant women. So you can have a trier system. That is nothing but fairness and equitability. Then you can use principles like transparency and communication. That is, right to know. Every person in that area must have the right to know what you are doing. That is what aid you are referring. Or you can have a phone number where they can call if they need any help. Call online calls. Then accountability principle here is documentation of everything you are doing so that it is transparent. Then implement action, review and evaluate. So this would be one framework for disaster management case studies. So you have different frameworks, some 10 to 12 frameworks for case studies. Most of the work is done before exam hall. You can directly represent this and just modulate to the demand of the question. Got this?
Yeah. So like if you had observed keenly on what ma'am told, if you think are like an aspirant who is writing the ethics paper, and if you think are like an IAS officer handling the situation, you will realize that what she told is the same in both the scenarios. Right? Like she talked about one concept, that is ensuring mental health support for the people like who are facing, like we usually when it comes to disaster management, what we think, how to follow the standard operating procedures, NDMA guidelines, how to conduct a meeting, how to do that war room and all. But like she told one point, that is empathetic aspect, ensuring mental health support for the victims. So that is what stands out. That is our own genuine thought process, which comes from our own experience as a doctor, right? She was a doctor during COVID times, so she knows all those she told is coming off organically. See, that is where the concept of learning comes. You can learn anything from people around you. Let's say your friend is a doctor, talk to him about his experience. Your uncle is in some department, talk to him about the corruption. How do they handle it? Have the curiosity to learn. That is where our personality development happens. In UPSC preparation, 50% is about your preparation. That is the academic preparation, content, answer writing, all those. 50% is about your personality. How do you improve your personality? See, that is what I told. Like she is standing there because of her thought process. So try to develop that thought process. Be keen to look at your surroundings and learn from it. That will be directly helpful for you in your case studies. Directly, because as soon as an evaluator, like you were impressed by that point, right? Providing mental health support to the victims. The same way, the evaluator will also get impressed. The evaluator will give you 1 marks more. That is why she was able to score 120, like 122, 125 in ethics. That is the reason. It's about your personality as well.
Thank you, sir, for the appreciation.
So this is what we should think of. Mains is also about your personality. Prelims is also about your personality, because again, most of you can connect with me. That is like I know most of you have put in 10-15 hours of effort during prelims preparation. But most of the students I knew, like some students, they panicked the last week before prelims. They were like, what if I don't make it? What if I don't make it? There is something called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Give it a search. Self-fulfilling prophecy. So you attract so much negative energy that in the end, the negative things are going to happen. You have watched Interstellar, right? Interstellar, there is a phenomena. Murphy law. The more you fear negative things, the more the negative things will happen. The more you attract positive energy, positive things will happen. So that is the concept of self-fulfilling prophecy. And during the day of examination, even after putting 6 months of dedicated efforts, you are not able to control your emotions, then you will fail. Those who are able to control their emotions, they will succeed. Because most of you, if you have given prelims, you know that you didn't fail because of the tough questions. You failed because of the 5-10 silly mistakes that you did during the exam. Means you know that if you had gotten those 5 questions right, you got them right when you came out of the exam hall. But in the exam hall, you couldn't get them right. Had you gotten them right, you would have cleared prelims. Prelims is also about your ability to control your emotions. That means, that is why once you clear prelims, you will be able to clear prelims again and again, because you have learned what it takes to clear prelims. That is how our personality is built, right? Once we commit a mistake, if we learn from that mistake, then we won't be repeating the mistake again and again. It is a concept in essay called as eternal recurrence theory by Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche. The theory of eternal recurrence. As long as we don't learn from our mistakes, we are bound to commit those mistakes again and again. Eternal means again and again. Recurrence, the same mistake will happen again and again. So that is why learn from your mistakes, adapt. Don't, if you are in the past, you are, if you are sad or anything, you are living in the past. If you are anxious about the future, you are living in the future. Focus on your present. What can you do today? Today you can show up, listen to the ethics class, go and note down whatever we are told, analyze whatever we are told, give those 10 to 12 hours of dedicated efforts. Show up tomorrow. Show up the day after tomorrow. That is how consistency is built. In the end, the people who clear UPSC are not the most talented, are not Shashi Tharoors, are the people who show up consistently every day for the next 1 year. And that's the difference. Because the best example is ma'am from Adgir, small town, small village. Now,
District. I am.
fine. But like she is here, right, as an IAS officer, then is consistent.
Yeah, that's what, like, see, you, ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಐಲ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಇನ್ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಯಾದಗಿರಿಗೆ ಏನಂತಾರೆ ಹಿಂದುಳಿದ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ. ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಈಸ್ ಯಾದಗಿರಿ ಈಸ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರುತ್ತಿರುವ ಜಿಲ್ಲೆ. ಸೊ ಐ ಫೀಲ್ ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಟೆಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಆರ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್, ನೋ, ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಫಾರ್ಮ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಟು ಯುವರ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರೆಂತ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ ಒನ್ ಫ್ರೇಸ್ ಐ ಯೂಶ್ವಲಿ ಫಾಲೋ. ಕಾರಣಗಳಷ್ಟೇ. Understood. So you come out of that reasoning what you're giving to yourself, you will do wonders. And always remember, may sound little wrong, I don't know, UPSC is just an exam. Life is much bigger than this. UPSC is very important. Do all your hard work, but treat it as an exam. So on the day of exam, you will not panic. It is just another exam. You go with lots of positivity in you. When you have prepared everything, you have prepared similar to every serious aspirant around you. You go there, be positive, give your exam, leave the rest. Then when you go with that attitude, right, you will do wonders. That's all you should like even follow in life.
Didn't I tell? In the end, it's all about your perspectives and personality. That is, she took what is a challenge, a limitation, into an opportunity. That is what we call as aspirational districts program. They are aspirational in nature. That is why they are called as ADPs, the most backward districts in India. But they are aspirational because they are going to be the growth engine for the next 25 years. That is where the true growth, true opportunity lies. So it is about the personality, that our thought process, optimistic, solution-oriented personality she has. That is what we need to inculcate. That is why I say it again and again. Your personality is ready. PSC exam is just, you are just showing up on that day, you are writing some exam and coming. That's it. Your personality is ready, then you will clear UPSC, the process with. I was not ready 3 years ago. Maybe this time, if I am ready, the UPSC rewards us with good marks. So focus, work on your personality, work on your academics, also work on your personality.
So repeated questions on CSAT strategy and resources, at least like strategy and resources in 2 minutes, if you can brief. So many questions related to CSAT because you got the highest marks in CSAT.
If you know my CSAT marks, got around 160. Fine.
That is my combined score for 2 years.
like I will address them separately. Because right now, your thought process is somewhere in ethics. Thought process. Because see, what is happening is that it is like mixing puliyogara and chitrana. Sorry, masranna. Then your thought process will be tumbled. I don't want to do that. I will address them. I will take a separate session for that. And it's not the time. It's not the time. So, when it is time. So, and make sure. So, one final suggestion. Make sure you make the best utilization of DRONA initiative. It's completely free. Understand that for them to show up, just to show up, they are IAS officers. Just to show up and guide you. That shows their humility. That shows the passion they have towards empowering more and more children. They have faced the difficulties. They don't want others. I am saying they, me included, we are doing this. I don't want to boast. That's it. So we are doing this to ensure you don't commit the mistakes we did. That is why all these sessions we are taking. If you are in Chandra Layout for last 5 years, you will realize that this is the first time you are conducting such a breakthrough initiative. Just to collect all the Avengers together. It itself is a great achievement, and thanks to India4IAS for that. And make sure you make the best utilization. Make sure you work on the suggestions that we have given.
Yeah, mere attending the classes and not working upon it is like not attending the session.
So if you don't work on it, that you are wasting your time, you are wasting our time also. So fine. So work on the suggestions that we have given and work on your personality also. How to do that? Read newspaper. Rather than trying to read compilations at the end of the year. Read newspapers regularly from day one. Read editorial analysis. Watch good biography movies, personality development movies. Read personality development books. Whatever that feels you, that helps you in personality development. If you are having issues with English, that's not the issue of your vocabulary. It's the issue of how you look at the challenge. You can say that, no, I'm bad at English. You can always say that for the rest of your life. So if you are expecting yourself to write topper level answers in 1 year, can't you expect yourself to improve your English in 1 year? Right? So, and understand why I am saying this. Because you have written 2026 prelims, you will realize that this was the lengthiest paper of all times. If you don't improve your English and start reading faster, then by the time you complete the question, your time is up. By the time you just complete reading that question, your time is up. You don't even get any time to think.
Yeah, so that is one of the difficulty which usually Kannada medium students face in prelims also. Because understanding the question itself requires you to understand English. Not high-fi English, but a moderate level of English which administrator must know.
So you can join my Telegram channel also if you haven't joined it. Now I share everything that I have with that channel. You can join Mains with Magnus initiative. That it can be helpful in your. And I want to thank all the toppers, especially Nivedita ma'am, Kiran Anna, Sandeep Badat sir, Chinmayi, everyone taking these sessions last few days.
And also, we all thank you too, sir.
For the DRONA initiative. Hope the sessions were beneficial, and thanks to you as well for showing up for 2 days. I know how exhausting it can be just to attend 3 sessions per day, but you showed up with the courage, grit, and determination. That and
with the similar courage, grit, and determination, we wanting you to be our colleagues.
Yeah, you will be our juniors. So, for showing that courage and determination, always stay positive. Have that positive attitude. Whatever, if you have failed prelims, that means UPSC is trying to teach you something. If you have failed means the UPSC is trying to teach you something. That you require this level of thought process. You are here. So by failing these prelims, we are giving an opportunity for you to develop your thought process to this level. So UPSC is giving an opportunity to improve your personality. Work on that. And thank you. All the best.
Thank you. All the very best.